Okay, now here's my question arkadaşlar. B to the power absolute n, where b is greater than 0. And I want you to find out what is x of z. Okay, you have a couple of minutes to solve this question. For n being greater than 0, what is that part arkadaşlar? For n being greater than 0, b to the power n un, right? Plus, for n less than 0, b to the power minus n u minus n minus 1. Were you able to write this part on your own? Let me write this again. So if I see absolute of n, I should be thinking both n's in my calculations. Okay, what's the z value? What's the x of z for the first part arkadaşlar? 1 over 1 minus b z to the power minus 1. How about the other one?
Same.
How about this one? Same, you said, Kürşat?
Yeah, I think it's the same with the first one.
What is the difference?
Minus 1.
The other one is left-sided. Right?
Only minus 1, right? Bakın, here I had minus. When I have minus here, my result was plus. If I don't have a minus here, my result should be minus, right? You understand?
Okay.
Minus a to the power n is going to be 1 over 1 minus a z to the power n. 1 divided by 1 minus. Any other difference arkadaşlar? Like, is it true that if I write it like this, would it be true?
Hocam, I guess it should be z to the power of 1, right? Plus 1, maybe.
Z to the power plus 1. Or b minus 1, right? B to the power minus 1, z to the power minus 1. Bakın, let us do it together. B to the power minus n, u minus n minus 1. What is the z transform? B n from minus infinity to minus 1. Is this like this? Arkadaşlar, can you go from here to here immediately? Like from minus infinity to minus 1. So this part is gone. Then I will have this one, b to the power minus 1, z to the minus 1, like that, right? So what is my next move? And from 1 to infinity. Minus n. Then takip ediyor muyuz arkadaşlar? Are you with me? I don't know why I paused, but this is what happened. Did you understand this whole idea over here arkadaşlar? Evet, takip edebiliyor muyuz? Yes. Firdevs, takip edebiliyor muyuz?
Yes hocam.
Yes. Mustafa, Baha?
Yes hocam.
Yes. So, arkadaşlar, do you understand now why I put minus from 1 to 1 minus b to the power z minus 1 like that? Why did I do this? Because I want to find out poles and zeros. If I would like to find poles and zeros, I really tend to have everything z to the power minus 1 in the first step. Then I'm going to multiply with z squares and find out the poles and zeros accordingly, okay? So now I'm going to go from here to here. X of z is going to be equal to 1 minus b to the power minus 1 z to the power minus 1 minus 1 plus b to the power z minus 1 divided by 1 minus b z to the power minus 1 1 minus b minus 1 z to the power minus 1. Okay, now I wrote this by equating the denominators. Is this clear? Nurican, is this part
hocam.
clear?
Yes, it's clear.
So if I do this, these will go away. What I am left with is equal to this and this one. So what do I have? B minus 1 over b times z to the power minus 1 divided by 1 minus b z to the power minus 1. Okay, can you tell me what are my zeros? How do I find the zeros? Multiply both sides by z squared. Why?
2z to the minus 1. We have two of them.
Because we have two of them, right?
Yes.
In the denominator. Then I should make it z. So that's why now I'm going to write z times z square. So z times b minus 1 over b divided by z minus b, z minus b to the power minus 1. So what are my poles? Zeros. I need to find out the roots of this part, numerator. What are the roots arkadaşlar?
0.
Z equals 0, right? It's going to be my 0. That's the only that's the only thing. How about poles?
B and b to the power of minus 1.
B and b to the power minus 1, b and 1 over b.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are my zeros and poles. Can you now, if you look at the whole question, can you now draw the ROC curve, ROC plot?
We should know the b value.
Hojam, by the way, the second term in the second term does not exist from -1 to 0. The part where n is less than 0.
Would you repeat, Anya, please?
When n is less than 0, from 0 to -1.
Yes.
The second Because the second term starts from -1 to negative infinity.
This
Yes.
one, right?
That one, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So it doesn't exist from 0 to -1.
It exists from -1 to minus infinity. It doesn't exist at 0 because we already used it, right? Here we already used 0. Now we are putting the terms from minus infinity to -1. So here I have 0, 1, 2, and so on. Here I have -1, -2, and minus infinity. So I have the whole n defined by here, right? There is no restriction about n here.
What
And
happens
be
from
both positive and negative. That's
what
why
happens from? I was asking what happens from -1 to 0. It doesn't exist.
what do you mean by it doesn't exist?
From -1 to 0 in that interval.
-1 to 0. This is a discrete signal. That's why there is nothing between -1 and 0. There is
Okay.
-1 here, 0 here. There is nothing in between.
Okay.
Because
then.
I only have, what kind of a signal is this? For example, like this, right? Something like that, 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on, -1, -2, -3, and so on. This is a discrete signal. So there is nothing between here,
Okay.
okay?
Okay. Thank you, hocam. I got it.
So, arkadaşlar, Manal said, why don't we multiply by z cubed? Why do we need such a thing? Why do we need, Manal, what do you think? Why do we need by multiplying with z?
No, Hajjal, my question is if we have in the denominator, like we have z minus 2 or -3.
Huh. If we have, for example, instead of 1 here, if it were 2, then
Yes,
we
yes.
multiply it with 3 as you
Yes.
yes, exactly. We are going to add up how many z to the power -1s I have. I'm going to multiply by that term. Okay? As you mentioned, like if it is like 1 minus z minus 2, 1 minus z minus 3, then I should multiply both sides by z to the power 5.
Yes, Hajjal. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So, arkadaşlar, if I have this right now, let's do that. Z to the power 5, z cubed minus 1, sorry, z minus 1, z minus 1, right? Öyle oluyor herhalde. Z minus 1, z minus 1. So how do I plot this poles and zeros? How do I indicate poles and zeros? Like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 zeros, 5 z equals zeros. It's called multiple root. Multiple root. Okay? So I indicate that by including as many zeros like that. If you have 2 z equals 1s, then you put like this. That means at 1, I have 2 poles. At 0, I have 5 zeros. You understand what I mean? Like this is multiple pole zero case. Firdevs wanted me to go over the second term's Z transform. You mean this one? Firdevs, you mean this one?
Yes hocam.
Yes. Let me do this once more. Bakın şimdi I have b to the power n u minus n minus 1. Okay. How did I get this? I said I have from 0 to infinity, my bn un is like that because I have b to the power absolute n. I should think about 2n domains, which is greater than 0 and less than 0. For greater than 0, I have this one. For less than 0, greater than or equal to 0. For less than 0, it is b to the power n, u minus n minus 1. Okay, that's why I have this two terms in the same x of n. Okay, this is the part n greater than or equal to 0. This is less than or equal to 0, less than 0. So for this part, how do I start everything? I write this. N from minus infinity to minus 1, b to the power 1, z to the power, b to the power n, z to the power minus n. I used my z transform formulation. Then I do this. Sorry, this should be b to the power minus n, değil mi arkadaşlar? Burası çok önemli. Because when n is less than 0, the output of absolute n should be minus n.
Yes.
That's why this part is minus n. Okay? I should put like this. Are you with me, guys?
Yes.
If I'm doing something wrong, please warn me, okay? Why is this minus n? Because n less than 0, root n, absolute n should be equal to minus n. That's why I have it here. For n less than 0 means here, it is going to be between minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, and up to minus infinity. How I did found this? This is the definition of step function. Minus n minus 1, minus n greater than 1, n should be less than or equal to minus 1. That's why I have minus 1, minus 2, up to minus n. Okay, arkadaşlar? Are you with me?
Yes.
Yes? So now what should I do? Again, I will do a shift like from minus to plus. How do I do it? I do it like this. I write here instead of 0, instead of minus 1, I write 1. Instead of minus infinity, I write plus infinity. I change nothing in the parentheses, but I change this into minus n.
Yes.
Tamam mı? Sonra then I take this thing inside. How do I do it? N is equal to 1 to infinity, bz n. Üstleri çarptım. I multiplied minus like that. Then my alpha is here. So what should I do next? I do this like I do continue like this. Why am I doing this? Because this is like 0, 1, 2, and so on. If I subtract the 0th term, I will be left with 1 to infinity, which is this. Anlaşıldı mı burası arkadaşlar?
Yes.
Yes? So this part is 1 because alpha to the power 0 is equal to 1. So finally, I will have n equals 0 to infinity. What is alpha? Bz to the power n minus 1. Then I will have 1 over 1 minus bz minus 1. Because now alpha will be here. 1 over 1 minus alpha. If you remember, from 0 to infinity, alpha to the power n is equal to 1 minus alpha. Okay? So now, if I see this, I'm gonna do 1 minus this times this, 1 minus bz divided by 1 minus BZ. Then these ones will go away, this minus will become plus, and then it is now BZ divided by 1 minus BZ. Then what should I do? I should convert this into a Z to the power minus 1 situation. That's why I divide both sides by BZ. Then these will go away, these will go away, and finally I will have 1 over BZ minus 1, or minus 1 over 1 minus B to the power minus 1 Z to the power minus 1. This is this. Firdevs and arkadaşlar, is this more clear right now?
Yes, hocam, it's
Yes.
clear now.
Okay. Is everybody happy with the final outcome? Yes? No? Everybody is okay? Arkadaşlar?
Good, good.
Okay. So, what did we do until now? We found these as my zeros. I found these as my poles. Now I'm gonna write or draw my ROC plot. What are my zeros? There is only 1 0 here. What are my poles? B and 1 over B. Let's say B is here, 1 over B is here. What is my assumption here, arkadaşlar?
B is bigger than 1.
B is bigger than 1, exactly. If B is bigger than 1, then let's say this is 2, this is 1 over 2. If B is less than 1, what happens? These will change their places, right? If B is less than 1, or less than 1 and greater than 0, let's say B is 1 over 2, then 1 over B will be 2, B will be 1 over 2. So they will shift their places. You understand what I mean, arkadaşlar, here? Ali Said, do you understand what I'm talking about?
Yes, hocam. No.
Yes. Okay. So if B is greater than 0, if B is greater than 1, how should I plot my graph, arkadaşlar? So this is my right-sided sequence. This is my left-sided sequence. One of them is right-sided with B. Okay, if you remember, we found 1 minus B Z to the power and 1 minus B to the power minus 1, like that, right? So now I'm gonna look at this and try to plot this. What should I do for this purpose, arkadaşlar? This is right-sided. This is left-sided. So if B is greater than 1, if B is greater than 1, let's say B is 2, okay? That's the case. So I'm gonna do this one and draw the outside. Outside means right-sided. And this one, left-sided, draw inside. Is there an overlap between these two ROCs? No. So there is no convergence if B is greater than 1. No convergence. Anlıyor muyuz burayı arkadaşlar? So here Z is greater than B. Here Z is less than 1 over B. Nasıl buldum? So B to the power minus 1, Z to the power minus 1. Absolute value is less than 1, right? Arkadaşlar nasıl yaptım orayı? Here or BZ is less than 1. Then Z should be less than 1 over B. Değil mi? This will go down and Z will be 1 over B. So if I do this arkadaşlar, if I do these things first and then draw accordingly, it will be a lot easy for you to deal with the plot of your ROC plot. Okay. So for what case there is a convergence? If B is between 0 and 1, then 1 over B will be here, B will be here. This is going to be the right-sided one, and this is going to be the left-sided one. Where is my intersection? It is in between. So my ROC will be here. Z will be less than 1 over B, greater than B. B is between 0 and 1. And poles and zeros, we put them here already. Evet, anlaşıldı mı arkadaşlar? I'm done with the recitation for this hour. I'm going to continue on Thursday. I want you to grasp the main ideas. I'm going to try to connect Z transform with some other problems, like only not finding Z transforms and ROCs, but I want you to understand this, like Y of Z is equal to H of Z times X of Z. And I'm going to write Y of N is equal to something like X of N plus something like that. I'm going to come up with those kind of problems, and I want you to solve them together. Okay? Evet arkadaşlar,